at Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, Scene 1. So this is the very first scene in our play. We've already looked at the prologue. So now let's talk about Act 1, Scene 1. I don't know if y'all remember, but in the movie, Act 1, Scene 1 was kind of interesting. Let's look it up. Romeo and Juliet 13. All right, so I just want to show you like a picture, right, of the scene I'm speaking of. So, right, this is the one where we have the unrest here in the street. There's fighting, there's Tybalt, very grumpy, the like. This is what Act 1, Scene 1 looks like. So let's take a second and break down what is happening in this scene. All right, so there's unrest in the kingdom and fighting in the streets. Then Benvolio enters. Part, fools! Put up your swords. You know not what you do. Beats down their swords. So this idea right here is actually very simple. It seems weird, but he's using his sword to try to stop the fighting. So we know just from our conversations that Benvolio is a very peaceful guy. He doesn't want all the fighting to persist. So he's trying to encourage peace. Tybalt then enters and he says, "What? Thou art drawn to these heartless hinds? Turn thee, Benvolio, and look upon your death." So he's wanting Benvolio to fight him, and obviously he wants to kill him, right? Look upon thy death. Benvolio, I do but keep the peace. Put up thy sword, or manage to part these men with me. So yet again, Benvolio is encouraging Tybalt to be a part of the solution, not the problem. Benvolio, that peacemaker. Tybalt, what drawn and talk of peace? I hate the word, as I hate hell. All Montagues and thee meaning I hate you, right? Thee meaning you in this context. Have at thee, coward. So here he's saying that he hates the word peace as much as he hates hell, Montagues, and him being Benvolio. That's very aggressive, but okay. They fight, enter people from both houses and citizens. Citizens say, clubs, bills, partisans, strike, beat them down. Down with the Capulets, down with the Montagues. And I think this is a really interesting line, y'all, because it shows that even the citizens of Verona are sick of their, that's fine, nonsense. They're so sick of it. They're done. They don't want to see it anymore. So then old Capulet, that's our old guy, and Lady Capulet enter. Capulet says, "What noise is this? Give me my longsword, ho." Capulet says, a crutch, Lady Capulet. Why call for your sword? So she's questioning why this fighting must persist. So she's kind of a little less interested in the fighting, I think. Capulet says, "My sword, I say. Old Montague has come and flourishes his blade in spite of me." So he's saying, well, Capulet's here, or Montague's here. He's going to fight me, so I'm going to fight back, dude. Montague and Lady Montague enter. "Thou villain Capulet, hold me not, let me go. Thou shalt not stir a foot to seek a foe." And so our women here are trying to discourage the fighting, but the men are very, how should I put this, manly, in that they want the fighting to continue, right? So our men are resistant, that's really bad, y'all, sorry, are resistant to stop fighting, whereas the women are resistant to start, which is kind of interesting. All right, so then the Prince of Verona shows up. and he has had it, y'all. All right, so he says, rebellious subjects, enemies to peace. Oops, went too far, y'all. Sorry. Profaners of this neighborhood's stained steel. Will they not hear? What ho, you men, you beasts, that quench the fire of your pretentious rage with purple fountains issuing from your veins. We have this like imagery, really cool blood imagery. Interesting, right? Imagery, yeah. On pain of torture from those bloody hands, throw your misintempered weapons to the ground and hear the silent sentence of your moved prince. So he says, put your swords down and listen. I am mad. I've had it. I've had it with your nonsense. He then says, 3 civil brawls, bred of airy word, by thee, old Capulet and Montague, have thrice disturbed the quiet of our streets, and made Verona's ancient citizens cast by their grave beseeming ornaments, to wield old partisans in hands as old, cankered with peace, to part our cankered hate. If you ever disturb our streets again, your lives shall pay the forfeit of the peace. For this time, all the rest depart away. You, Capulet, shall go with me, and Montague come this afternoon, to know our further pleasure in this case. To old Freetown, our common judgment place. More one, on pain of death, all men apart. Whew! All right. So what we have here is the prince says, you've done it 3 times now. You've disrupted the quiet streets, right? He's saying you disrupted the quiet streets of Verona 3 times. And for what? He also says that. He's like, for what? For just this hatred, for this feud? And then it says, if you ever disturb our streets again, your lives shall pay the forfeit of the peace. If you do it again, you'll be sentenced to death. Slow death. So then he says, Capulet, come with me. Montague, come later. We're going to go to the common place and discuss. And then he's like, leave. Y'all people get out of here. So then we have a bit of a time break because we're skipping a little bit in the play. And now we meet Romeo, which we haven't met Romeo yet. He's in a different place. We don't know exactly where from the play. In the movie, right, we meet Romeo. Spoiler alert. Romeo in his... Oh, no, none of that. In the movie, we meet Romeo here. He's sort of sculpting. I don't think that's what that's called, but, he is making a piece of art, right, when we first meet Romeo. But it doesn't denote where we find him. But Benvolio comes to check on him. He says, Benvolio says, good morrow, cousin. Romeo, is the day so young? But new struck 9. Ay me, sad hours seem long. Was that my father that went hence so fast? It was. What sadness lengthens Romeo's hours, not having that which having makes them short. In love, out. Of love? Of her favor, where I am in love. Alas, that love so gentle in his youth should be tiredness and rough in proof. So we have this scene of Romeo. He's melancholy. He's sitting about, and he's not happy. He has some sort of problem. And we have established now that the problem is he's in love with someone he can't have, right? That is what we have discussed throughout class. And it's very true. This is what happens to Romeo. He feels that he's losing this love, right? So he keeps on. Right, so then Romeo is going to begin lamenting, of course, because this is Romeo and Juliet. He says, alas, that love who's still muffled still should without eyes see pathways to his will. Where shall we dine? Oh me, what fray was here? Yet tell me not, for I've heard it all. Here's too much to do with hate, but with love. Why then, oh brawling love, oh hate, oh anything, for nothing must create. Oh heavy lightness, serious vanity, misshapen chaos of well-seeming forms, feather of lead, bright smoke, cold fire, sick health, still waking sleep, that is not what it is. This love I feel, that feel no love in this. Dost thou not laugh? And this list here, y'all, when you think about it, you have heavy lightness, serious vanity, feather of lead, bright smoke, cold fire, sick health. These right here, friends, my friends, those are complete opposites if you look at them. A feather is so light. Lead is so heavy. Smoke is not bright. Yet they put those two things beside one another. This is something we call an oxymoron. An oxymoron is when we put two things that are very different side by side, and it somehow works. It's very strange, but somehow it works, and it makes this contradiction. And I wonder how Shakespeare is using these oxymorons. So oxymoron, there we go. None of these things are actually alike. They're quite different. They are opposite, it seems, and yet it works. It refers then to the oxymoronical meaning of love. Love doesn't always make sense. It is often a contradiction. And so that is what Romeo is lamenting about. And if you want to look at it in a very literal sense, Romeo is in love with a woman that doesn't love him back, right? So then we have this idea of unrequited love, and how unrequited love in and of itself is a contradiction. So if you think about it, is unrequited love, which is what Romeo, not reciprocated love, is that love real? Is this oxymoron real? Moving on. These are questions to think about as we read. I don't have all the answers. Instead, I'm here to sort of guide you and think it through with you. That's all I'm here for, y'all. So then it goes on to say, no, 'cause I rather weep. Good heart at what? At my good heart's oppression. So he's saying, I'm weeping for you, that you're having this internal struggle, this strife. And then Romeo, he kind of laughs at this. He says, why such love's transgression? Grief of mine own is heavy in my breast, which thou promulgate, but it pressed with much of thine, and this love hast thou shown doth add grief to much of my own. Love is a smoke, raised with a fume of sighs, being purged, a fire of sparkling in the lover's eyes, being vexed to see of nourished with lover's tears. What is it else? A madness most discreet, a choking gall, and preserving sweet. Farewell, cuz. He doesn't seem upset by it. This is the interesting thing. Romeo, while he is melancholy, he is not sad. There's a difference between being sad and melancholy. Let's look up the word melancholy. I'm going to be honest. I don't spell well. Melancholy is a feeling of pensive sadness with no cause. So you are sad, and there's not a good, I don't like these definitions, because melancholy is a kind of sadness that in some ways is not sad. And that's a contradiction yet again, but it's a strange sort of sadness. And here he's sad, but he's not sad. Let's keep going. Soft I will go along. And if you leave me so, you do me wrong. So Benvolio is like, don't leave like that, dude. I'm worried about you. Romeo says, cut. I've lost myself. I am not here. This is not Romeo. He's somewhere else. And so I read this as, I am not here. I am with her. My love. So like he's not himself because he's not with her, maybe? Just a thought. Tell me in sadness, who is it that you love? What shall I groan and tell thee? Groan, why no, but sadly tell me who. Bid a sick man in sadness and make his will. Word ill urged to know to one that was so ill. In sadness, cousin, I do love a woman. I aim so near when I suppose you loved. A right good mark, and she's fair I love. A right fair mark, fair cuz, is soonest hit. Well, in that you hit miss, she'll not be hit with Cupid's arrow. She hath Dian's wit, and in strong proof of chastity well armed, from love's weak childish bow she lives unharmed. She will not stay a siege in loving terms, nor bide the encounter of assailing eyes, nor ope her lap to the saint's seducing gold. Oh, she's rich in beauty, only poor, that when she dies with beauty and dies her store. So, we look at this, we look at what he's saying with Cupid's arrow. She'll not be hit by Cupid's arrow, so she won't fall in love, right? She won't. And then it says she's got Dian, which that's a reference to Greek mythology's wit, and strong proof of chastity. And so it's all this to say that she's beautiful, she's smart, but she won't be hit by Cupid's arrow. She won't fall in love. Then hath she sworn that she will still live chaste? She hath, and in that sparking makes a huge waste. For beauty starved with her severity cuts beauty off from all prosperity. She is too far, too wise, too wisely fair, to merit bliss, making me despair. She hath forsworn love, and in that vow do I dead that love to tell it now. He ruled by me and forget to think of her. Oh, teach me how I should forget to think. So here, Benvolio is wanting him to get over it. Get over it, dude. He's like, no. By giving liberty unto thine eyes, examine other beauties. He's like, there are other fish in the sea. Calm down. 'Tis the way to call her exquisite. A question more. These happy marks that kiss the fair lady's brows, being back, put us in the mind that they hide fair. He is that stricken blind cannot forget the precious treasure in his eyesight lost. Show me a mistress that is falling fair, and doth her beauty serve as a note where I read the past in passing fair. Farewell, thou canst not teach me to forget. And so Romeo is essentially saying, no one is as beautiful as my love. My love is the most beautiful of all. And Benvolio shakes his head and he says, I'll pay for that doctrine or else die in debt. So what we have here is Romeo and Benvolio having this conversation. And they very obviously disagree with, essentially they're disagreeing about that there are other beautiful people, right? So I just wanted to point out that we did these characterization activities where I asked students I gave them a character and I said, all right, now give me a character trait and a quote that backs it up. And so these are some for Benvolio. They say peaceful. He's a peacemaker. He is nice, optimistic, trustworthy, clear, reliable, caring, respectful, all of these different things, right? Then we can look at Tybalt in sort of contrast. He's a big baby. That's funny. He doesn't care about peace, just wants war. He's about the action. Very hawkish. Oh, I love that. And pitiless. Okay, so you see these words, right? These are some ways we can describe these characters. He's real weak. He's violent. He likes to fight. He's weak, mad for no reason, extremely feisty. Love it. And then finally we did Romeo. He's stubborn. I like that. He's dedicated, determined, compassionate, stubborn. He's a leader, all of these different things, right? And then there's evidence to back it up. So if you ever need, for whatever reason, characterization information, there's some there for you, or at least a start. All right, y'all, hope you're enjoying Romeo and Juliet, and we'll cover Act 1, Scene 5 very soon. Bye-bye.